Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David, and Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I hope 2024 is good to everyone. It's going to be a tumultuous and chaotic year. So strap in, get yourselves ready. The ride is about to begin. Okay, some quick administrative news. I've started a second YouTube channel. It's called Tarot of the Seven Seas. I've got a link in my community page. This page is, this YouTube channel is dedicated to international readings. Probably mostly will be focused on the EU. So I'm trying to expand my horizons and learn a bit more about world politics. And rather than have it on this channel, I wanted to create a separate channel for it and see how that channel progresses. So Tarot by the Bay will mostly focus on US politics and things along those lines, and Tarot of the Seven Seas is going to focus more on politics outside the United States. Okay, and we'll see how things go from there. I'm excited and nervous at the same time because I don't know much about world politics, and I've at least had 6 or 7 years to get up to speed with US politics. So I expect that I will be making all sorts of gaps and causing international incidents with it. But yeah, that's how you learn. Show a little courage and we'll see what happens. Okay, now on for this reading. This is going to be a reading on Jack Smith and the filings that he filed on Saturday. He warned, he basically was saying that giving Donald Trump absolute immunity would threaten to license presidents with the ability to commit crimes while they remain in office. Now, here's a very interesting quote. I'm going to read you from this CNN article, and I'll have a link in the description. These are quotes here. The implications of the defendant's broad immunity theory are sobering. In his view, a court should treat a president's criminal conduct as immune from prosecution as long as it takes the form of correspondence with a state official about a matter in which there is a federal interest, a meeting with a member of the executive branch, or a statement on the matter of public concern. Now, this is the really interesting part. And this could be what Jack Smith is kind of implying, sending a secret message to us and to reporters. And this is what the bulk of this reading is going to be about. That approach would grant immunity from criminal prosecution to a president who accepts a bribe in exchange for directing a lucrative contract to the payer. A president who instructs the FBI director to plant incriminating evidence on a political enemy. Or a president who sells nuclear secrets to a foreign adversary. Because in each of these scenarios, the president could assert that he was simply executing the laws or communicating with the Department of Justice or discharging his powers as commander-in-chief or engaging in foreign diplomacy. Note, he did not say Trump did these things, but those are some interestingly specific examples he's giving, especially since we know that Trump was waving around Iranian battle plans that the U.S. would have in case we were invading Iran. And we know there was news that was released that he held nuclear secrets, or the secrets to the nuclear capacities of another country. And would it surprise anybody about Trump potentially taking a bribe and directing a contract to the briber? You know, that's transactional exchanges 101, which is Donald Trump's bread and butter. Would it be like Donald Trump to ask an FBI director to plant incriminating evidence on a political opponent? Just need you to do me a favor. You know what I mean? So I want to read on the energy of Jack Smith's filing. Oh, let me finish the this here. Sorry, this is such a long intro. Basically, Jack Smith is asking for the courts to make a very quick ruling on this. He was saying, there could be a prosecution that comes later on that starts, getting into the gray zone of what presidential immunity is or is not, but that's not this case. So he wants them to react quickly. And then he, for an unusual request, he's asking that the court, if they decide to rule in Jack Smith's favor, that there be a 5-day window to allow for the appeal to go up to the next appellate court review or to the Supreme Court. Normally, you might get months to do that, but he's trying to speed things along to maintain his January 6th insurrection case. Because he knows Trump's going to try and delay. So instead of giving him months to delay, give him a work week. Because you know Trump's going to, if Trump loses his case, he's going to file an appeal. So he just wants the appeal to be done in an expedited manner on Team Trump's part. All in an effort to make sure that this January 6th case, if it doesn't start on March 4th, starts as close to that original start date as possible. Okay, so that's the intro. And now let's get into the reading. I'm going to read on the energy of Jack Smith's filing that he did. And then we're going to get into these 3 other specific things that he talked about. All right, entertainment purposes only. What's the energy around Jack Smith's filing? Is this going to get the appellate court to move quickly, and will they agree with him? My deck is upside down. Okay. Queen of Pentacles. He's trying to be very practical. This card summarizing that one part where he was saying, you know, this is a pretty cut and dry case. There might be cases in the future where we're starting to get into the gray zone of what presidential immunity would be. And he's saying, you know, for cases like that, yeah, take your time because that's going to have long-standing implications. But in this case, this isn't that. This is basically saying presidents are kings. And that's not what this country was founded on. Here's the queen with the country in her lap. That's not the values of this country. In this case, should be very simple to address. And that's crossed with the 9 of Pentacles. I think this is, you know, again, historically the values of America and the Americans and the American law system as to what the president can and can't do. You know, what protections we've afforded the executive branch, but at the same time that the executive branch aren't nobility. They aren't royalty. They're accountable just like everybody else. Underneath it all is the 9 of Wands. Jack Smith knows that there are delays coming, and he's trying to do his best to look forward to the next battle. Not only to win this battle in an expeditious fashion, but to already be taking actions and plans for the next battle because he knows this is going to get appealed. And he wants to keep his case on track. He really feels that it's important that the American people witness this January 6th insurrection case and have it done before they're voting in the fall of 2024 for the President of the United States. They need to know if Donald Trump is guilty of leading an insurrection. And then there's going to be all the 14th Amendment Section 3 debates that follow if he is found... Okay, wait a minute. Let me back up. We're not going to be finding out if Donald Trump is guilty of leading an insurrection. Misspeaking on my part. We're going to find out if you know, he was stirring up the crowd to delay an action of Congress and all the charges that are in there. He did not add an insurrection charge because it would really grind the case down, and he wouldn't be able to get an expeditious review in the courts. Mind you, Amendment 14, Section 3 does not require a prosecution or a successful prosecution of insurrection or providing aid and comfort to those who commit insurrection. It just says engages in insurrection. And I've got some folks that'll say, well, he needs to be convicted. That's not what the law says. Furthermore, when he's out there saying he's going to pardon all the people that committed sedition, that seems like he's providing aid and comfort, you know? So there's a lot of battles coming up here. 7 of Swords in the past. This, you know, Donald Trump tried to not peacefully transfer power. And, you know, he's been lying, cheating, and stealing with both hands. And you're going to find out just how corrupt this administration is. Entertainment purposes only. Not that we don't expect it to be, but I think the corruption and the theft may be even worse than we expect. And the Mar-a-Lago documents case will probably illustrate that even more. And this is also just Donald Trump just getting away with everything his entire freaking life. And how does he do it? He ties everything up in the courts. Always tying things up in the courts. Again, Jack Smith, he's playing several moves in advance. And so he's trying to prevent things from getting tied up in the courts. The courts are going to have to hear this appeal. They have to. They have no choice not to. So all he's asking is, we're not saying you're not going to hear this. Just can you do it quickly? Because this should be a pretty simple case to decide. The overarching energy are the is the Two of Pentacles. This is, the values of taking your time versus moving quickly. What are the pros and cons of doing something along those lines? What is ultimately what's in the best interest of the country and the defendant, and the U.S. government who's prosecuting this case? You have to look at the best interests of all parties and then balance your speed with prudence, as it were. The lesson to be learned is the government and big organizations. This is about the Department of Justice. This is about the court systems. This is about the executive branch and the U.S. government. Basically, not to understate it, the 2024 election really is going to decide if this experiment in democracy succeeds or fails. Not to put too fine a point on it, no pressure there, huh? And again, if you're a Trump supporter and you're watching this and you're rolling your eyes, no, this, or if you're not really following, I think most people here are following this. Trump basically said he's going to be a dictator. Now, the quote was, "I'll be a dictator for a day." Once a dictator, you're always going to be a dictator. And he's going to go after everybody who he considers to be an enemy. He will fill all positions he can with sycophants, people that would happily keep him in power for the rest of his life, and then they would try to usurp that power for themselves. We would become Russia. We would have an authoritarian government who has a title of president, and then we'd have an oligarchy. That's where we're going. And so can't put too fine a point on it. This election is about whether or not we want to remain a democracy. That's nice. Outcome is Jack Smith, King of Swords. Jack Smith's going to get his way. I think this court is going to rule very quickly on this. And I also think that they are going to rule that a 5-day appeal is reasonable. They might lengthen it out to 10 days, but it's going to be the appeals for this case will be allowed to happen in an expeditious fashion. I think that Jack Smith is going to get what he wants out of this. The Washington, D.C. appellate court, they're not fools. They understand what's going on, and they understand how it's manifesting, and they will act accordingly. This court can move quickly and has been shown to move quickly. So, we might, I think that the case is being held next week. Oral arguments, I believe it was like January 6th or something like that. Is that right? Is that possible? January 1st is a Monday. I don't think that's on a Saturday. I know it's early January. Sorry, I don't have the dates here. It'll happen. I think it'll happen quickly. There's not a whole lot to discuss. Do presidents get absolute immunity? They're not kings. They're not kings. They shouldn't do it. And the counter argument, pretty obvious, that if you rule that presidents rule with absolute immunity, then Joe Biden is a king and he doesn't have to abdicate the throne. And that would be the natural conclusion you should take it. Joe Biden doesn't strike me as a person who would do that, but he absolutely would be well within his rights to do that, taking things to its natural conclusion. That's why you don't want to rule that way. You don't want the Democrats to do that to you, even if you want Trump to be able to do it. But now, to the juicy, gossipy stuff. Immunity for criminal prosecution to a president who accepts a bribe in exchange for directing a lucrative government contract to the payer. Asking the FBI director to plant incriminating evidence on a political enemy, or orders the National Guard to murder, I forgot this part, to murder his most prominent critics. That's one that seems like a little bit of a reach. Or a president who sells nuclear secrets to a foreign adversary. Are any of those 4 messages as to crimes that Trump has committed? That's what I want to know. Queen of Swords. Yeah, it is. It's being shown very cut and dry. I'd be curious which ones, if all 4 are there, but generally speaking, yes, all 4. This is a message that he's sending, and it's a very stark message. It should be very sobering. And there's truth in there. Yeah, that's a message. Donald Trump may have done all 4 of those things. He certainly, the thing about the bribes, because now we've got wealth and money and privilege, and things of value. This could be, bribery. Oh, you want something? Okay, shower me with money and you can get the contract. Would this be about planting evidence? Oh yeah, evidence is things of value. I don't know if necessarily this is about the National Guard killing people. But nuclear secrets are extremely valuable, and there's a lot of money to be made in that. This is all about Donald Trump being transactional and self-enriching. What scary times we live in. In the past, 3 of Cups. Okay, that's, there might be only 3 of them are on there. And maybe he didn't ask the National Guard to murder his political opponent. That's about the only one that would be even more extreme. Although, he's the one saying he could walk down Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and he wouldn't lose any supporters over it. But if we back away from that for just a second, is Jack Smith messaging us? I think in the past, the 3 of Cups. This is Donald Trump being voted out, democracy holding, and the investigations beginning against Donald Trump. You've got January 6th, Mar-a-Lago documents in the Georgia RICO case. These are the investigations that are starting against Donald Trump because he was able to be taken out of political power, and the Department of Justice, but for the federal Department of Justice as well as Georgia, to progress with those cases. Current situation is the Hierophant. Is he messaging to us? He's certainly messaging to the courts as to what happened, and I would assume Judge Chutkin has looked at evidence on this as well, because she's going to have to rule on that. Yeah, I think he absolutely is messaging. He's messaging to the courts, but I also think, remember, the Hierophant's about big institutions. It could be banks, it could be the court system, it could be the government, but it could also be the news media. So he is sending messages. I really do believe he's sending messages out, especially when you have that Sun card in there, that he is sending messages out to various organizations about what was going on with Donald Trump at the end of his presidency. Yeah, this is kind of his little offering to folks. He's letting us peek behind the curtain. This is a gift that he's giving us. It's a frightening gift. It's very stark, but it's a gift. And by offering this gift to these units, it's going to give their lieutenants and their foot soldiers something to work with. And I'm talking about you reporters here. The lesson to be learned is the background. What was going on in the background? This is, kind of like, This is his way of leaking information. And again, I got another 3 here to go with this 3. I think 3 of those 4 things have happened. And if I had to guess which of the 3, which was the one that didn't happen, well, it seems very likely Donald Trump would accept a bribe to direct a contract. That's just like, that's as basic as it comes. And we know that he had nuclear secrets and he was trying to hold on to those. So selling those would also be, because he'd make a lot of money with it. So we know that's probably likely. So now we're down to planting evidence or murdering your opponent. I don't think he quite got to the murdering of your opponent, but planting evidence, like declaring an investigation when no investigation is necessary, I think that's the most likely one. But I wouldn't doubt the next step is to murder your opponents. It may not be this time around, but if he were to get elected again and somehow go through an election cycle, he absolutely would murder his political opponents. Think of what Putin would do. You right? And what has done in Russia. We would basically become Russia in that regard. The outcome, yeah, he's given us a gift. He has given us a gift. He's given folks a peek behind the curtain, and it was a gift that he gave. He and his organization have been very good about not leaking information. And by putting this information in that filing, I really think that it was a gift, and it's kind of the don't be naive and think that this stuff didn't happen. You can fool yourself and you can have political differences with people, but a corrupt president is a corrupt president. And it's not even that Donald Trump's a corrupt president. He's just corrupt. He's been corrupt his whole life. The fact that he got elected president is mind-numbingly awful, but what did you expect? He wasn't suddenly going to grow a halo and wings and be angelic in his behaviors. No, he was just given free rein to be as awful as he could possibly be. And he said, hold my beer. Well, apparently he doesn't drink. Hold my Adderall? Entertainment purposes only, of course. Hold my ketchup packet here. Okay. Yeah, this is bad. All right, what's going to happen with the D.C. Court of Appeals? They're going to rule in Jack's favor. What will Team Trump do? Will they, or how does the next appeal? What's going to happen with the appeals from Team Trump? Page of Cups. They're going to look at it. I'm sure they're going forward with it. It's just more, the Page of Cups is just, they're going to appeal. They're not going to change anything in their appeal. They're just going to continue to say the presidents are immune to this. This is going to make this a 4-carder. Yeah, it's the appeal it's no basis. There's no legal basis for it. It's just crazy. It's just a way to delay things. Betrayal, heartbreak, the government. Yeah, they will continue taking action to appeal this to the next court level. For this, it's like these appeals are insincere. There's no sincerity. He doesn't really believe he's going to win this. Because if he did, he'd be trying to get these things through as quickly as possible. Now, in his heart of hearts, he probably believes he can win this. But he'd like, in some ways, he's playing both sides of it. If it delays things, great. If he wins things, great. And he probably can't decide day to day which of the two things he'd rather have. But I really do think that he wants to get this to the Supreme Court. Because he feels like that the Supreme Court owes him. He's got 3 people on the Supreme Court that need to rule in his favor. And I don't think those 3 people are going to rule in his favor. He's going to get up to the Supreme Court. They're going to look at this and say, we can't rule on this. This is crazy. And he's going to feel betrayed by Miss Barrett Mr. Kavanaugh, and Gorsuch. Clarence Thomas would probably be the... It would be difficult, you know, for all the cynicism in the world, it would be difficult to believe that Clarence Thomas would rule that presidents could be kings. Or Alito. That would be amazing. Because it's just, you know, they're strict, constitutional constructionists or interpreters, whatever term that they use. No, you can't do that. I'll just throw real quickly on that. Will Thomas or Alito? I'll leave the Seven of Swords just popped up. I'm going to leave Alito out of it. Will Thomas be like the one dissenting judge? That Seven of Swords kind of tells it all. Page of Pentacles. It's like that one guy who's offering a little bit of something here. Will he be... Oh, God. Yeah. It's like he lays one last gift at the altar of Donald Trump. I'm asking about Thomas, but you know what happens? I think if he does dissent, there's going to be more looking into the background. What's happening with Thomas, and I think he may or may not support Trump. That's irrelevant. But what I'm thinking is with Justice Thomas, they're looking at the money. They're looking at the backroom deals. Here's the investigation. The hermit looking into what he's done and his bad behaviors. And we're going to be, and these investigations against Thomas are happening quickly, and they may be happening in public really soon here too, looking at the dark money. So will Thomas vote against it? I don't know. But between the Seven of Swords I had flip up and this Page of Coins, I think they are looking very hard at Justice Thomas's finances. And maybe, you know, not only the dark money gets, but maybe they're trying to cut a deal with him to get him out. So if that's the case, you know, Thomas might just go ahead and be the one judge that supports that presidents of kings, because he's got nothing to lose. He's going to be quitting anyways. Good Lord. American politics. 2024. It's going to be tumultuous. Anyway, Happy New Year. Happy 2024. Thank you for supporting my channels now. Thank you. Thank you for all your kind words and your shares and your comments and everything that you do to help feed the YouTube algorithm to get my video out to a wider audience. To folks that are just recently discovering this channel or have recently subscribed, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next reading. Take care.